If you've seen the Royal Enfield Classic 350 on MotorInc View, you don't need to watch the rest of this video. Take a test ride, be amazed at how small the difference is between the Classic 350 and the Bullet 350, and pick the one you prefer. If the mood of this motorcycle and your temperament can work together, whether you pick the slightly more stylish Classic or the slightly more traditional Bullet, you can't go wrong. And just like with the Classic, there is that moment when the sound, the pace and the feeling, they softly click together into place and you'll catch yourself having fun on the Bullet. That's all there is to it. Thank you so much for watching. The longer version of this insanely short story is this. The Classic 350 and the Bullet 350 are mechanically exactly identical. The list of changes is super short. You've got a slightly different tank, a slightly different seat, and a slightly different handlebar. They make you sit taller and in a more open-chested riding position. Some of you will like this change. Others, whatever. The other changes are cosmetic. That's available in 5 different colors across 3 different variants, and the Bullet's prices span about 40,000 rupees from the bottom to the top model, which has the nice interplay of gloss and matte black and hand-painted pinstripes. That model, in fact, it's roughly the same price as the Chrome Classic 350. That's it. Oh, you want more detail? Fine. The challenge for the makers of this bike is how to make an all-new Bullet look exactly like the all-old Bullet. Fortunately, Royal Enfield is already very good at this. So the J-Series Bullet, it looks great, it goes well, and it feels absolutely amazing. This Bullet has as much to do with the UCE Bullet as fitness has to do with sugary sweets. Every panel is new, especially if you compare it to the old UCE. Finish levels are excellent, attention to detail is good, and build quality is as good as we expect from Royal Enfield today. And if you're exhausted by the idea of decades of black bullets, this maroon meets brown color is a great alternative color. As we said right at the start, this is a Classic 350 that harks back to an even more Classic 350. So the J-Series engine, it throws a very slick party and no real surprises. It's smooth, it's all about the torque, and you can do anything from 10 to 90 kilometers an hour easily. On the highway, if you'd like to sit at 100 plus, that's easy too, but by then the torque is tapering off and so the acceleration will also be a little bit slower. You'll see low 30s to mid 30s in most conditions. If you're going to compare this to the outgoing UCE Bullet, I'm going to say, don't bother. The results will sound like Royal Enfield marketing, not engineering. The J-Series is smoother, more relaxed, faster, has a bigger speed range, is more reliable, and so on and so forth. There's just no planet where these two engines are comparable. The J makes the UCE look silly, as it should. The same story applies to comfort, cornering, and braking. The extra foam in the seat, it does feel nice. And the chassis, we know it's trustworthy and confident, so you can choose any speed you like. Slow, swift, it's up to you. The brakes are decent too, and if Royal Enfield could reduce the effort at the finger for the same level of brake force, I think this experience can improve further. Now, don't get me wrong, if you compare the Bullet 350 to other motorcycles, then there is room for improvement. The Triumph Speed 400, for example, it's lighter on its feet and more responsive. The Harley-Davidson X440, we can't call it an outright sporty motorcycle, but it has a certain enthusiasm for being hustled up twisting roads that the Bullet does not. Up to this point of the story, there's a good reason why we've ignored the history of the Bullet 350. For one, I'm sure you've heard about it either everywhere or somewhere for sure, By now, the other reason is whether that history elevates your sense of value for the Bullet 350 or not depends on your taste and preference, so you get to process that. To me, the Classic and the Bullet are the same motorcycle. If you combine them, the range starts at 1.7 lakh rupees and the most expensive one goes all the way up to 2.2 lakh rupees. Because they are the same, the warranty and service requirement is exactly the same as well. So you will service this 2 times a year, oil changes every other time, and the warranty coverage is exactly identical. We also know that if you buy these polished engine cases, they lose their sheen over time as they corrode, and the black engine cases are easier to live with. Fuel gauges on all of these 350s, they're kind of iffy. The tripper navigation is not standard on any of them. And if you think that the Bullet 350 accessory list is looking kind of small, don't fret. Most of the stuff that is available for the Classic 350 will transfer over to this directly. And that is the story of the Royal Enfield Bullet 350. A lot of people are feeling shortchanged because Royal Enfield made the Classic and the Bullet so damn close to each other. But if you remember, the 2009 Bullet 350 is what became the Classic 350. They always were cosmetic cousins right at the start. And from then till September 2021, they remained cosmetic cousins. They leapt past emissions hurdles in a blur of nostalgia and vibration. It's the popularity of the Classic 350 and the cult following of the UCE Bullet that's probably led to the delay in the arrival of the J Series engine into the Bullet 350. The difference between the Bullet 350 and the Classic 350, it's not much. In hardware terms, in feeling terms, but in an almost ironic way, Royal Enfield is upholding tradition. The difference between the Bullet 350 and Classic 350, apart from the stories and the history, it's always been tiny. But since the choice between these two comes down so much to your taste, tell us in the comments how you choose between the two.